The plasma cannons of the Corvani dreadnought * inevitable victory. * painted the void in brilliant streaks of death. Commander Zaxithel watched through the bridge's crystalline viewport as another human colony ship exploded in a shower of debris. In flame, pathetic, he clicked through his mandibles, his four eyes tracking the destruction with cold satisfaction. These humans fight like children playing with toys they don't understand. The war had been going on for 3 cycles now, and the Corvani Empire had swept through human space like a cosmic hurricane. World after world had fallen. Fleet after fleet had been reduced to scrap metal and frozen corpses. The humans were brave. Zaxithel would give them that. But bravery meant nothing against superior technology and tactical brilliance. His tactical officer, Sub-Commander Kylonex, approached with the fluid grace of her species. Sir, we've detected the last human evacuation convoy, 47 ships, mostly civilian transports. They're trying to reach the hyperspace jump point near the third moon. Zaxithel's chitinous plates ripple with what passed for amusement among his kind. Of course they are. Always running, these humans. How refreshingly predictable. He turned to his weapons officer. Prepare the Nova cannons. We'll end this quickly. But as the inevitable victory and its escort fleet of 12 destroyers moved to intercept, something impossible appeared on their sensors. A single ship. It was massive, easily twice the size of Zaxithel's dreadnought, and it was moving directly toward the Corvani fleet, not away from it. Toward it, sir, the sensor officer's voice carried a note of confusion that Zaxithel had never heard before. The ship, it's not in our databases. The design is unlike anything we've encountered. Zaxithel studied the tactical display, his four eyes narrowing. The ship was angular, brutal in its simplicity, where Corvani vessels were elegant curves and bioorganic flowing lines. This thing looked like it had been carved from a mountain and sharpened for war. Identify it, he commanded, unable to comply. Sir. But sir, the sensor officer paused. It's broadcasting on all frequencies. Audio only. Put it through. The bridge speakers crackled to life, and a voice spoke in accented but clear Corvani standard. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the human battleship Defiance *. You have 30 seconds to withdraw from this system, or we will open fire. Silence filled the bridge. Then Zaxithel began to laugh, a sound like breaking glass that echoed off the walls. Did this single human ship just threaten an entire Corvani battle fleet? His officers joined in the laughter, but Kylonex remained silent, studying the sensor readings with growing unease. Sir, she said quietly, this ship, the energy signatures are off the charts. I've never seen anything like it. Zaxithel waved a dismissive claw. Impossible. Human technology is centuries behind ours. Open a channel. The communication array hummed to life. Human vessel. This is Commander Zaxithel of the Corvani Imperial Navy. I have destroyed 47 of your ships today. I will add yours to that number. Surrender now, and I will make your deaths quick. The response came immediately. Negative. Commander, you've got 15 seconds. 15 seconds? Zaxithel's mandibles clicked in disbelief. For what? To realize. You've never actually fought humans before. The channel went dead. Zaxithel stared at the communication panel, his mind struggling to process what he'd just heard. What did that mean? We've been at war with humans for 3 cycles. Kylonex's voice was barely above a whisper. Sir, what if we haven't? Before Zaxithel could respond, the human ship opened fire. Chapter 2. The Awakening. First thing that struck Zaxithel was the silence. No energy beams, no plasma bolts, no exotic matter projectiles. Just silence. Then the destroyer's edge one of his escort vessels, simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, a sleek predator of the void bristling with weapons. The next, it was an expanding cloud of superheated gas and metal fragments. No explosion, no dramatic light show. It just ended. Report. Zaxithel's voice cracked like a whip across the bridge. Sir, The sensor officer's voice was shaking. I don't understand the readings. The human ship fired something, but our sensors can't identify the projectile. It was moving at, he paused, double-checking his instruments, 0.7 light speed. Impossible. Sir, asterisk lightning strike asterisk is also gone. Zaxathal whirled to face the main display. Another of his destroyers had vanished, leaving only debris and the fading heat signature of its death. How? He demanded. How are they targeting us at this range? We're 60,000 kilometers away. The answer came as another destroyer died. This time, the sensors caught a glimpse of what killed it, a rod of what appeared to be ordinary metal, no longer than a shuttle, moving at a significant fraction of light speed. When it struck the destroyer's shields, it punched through them like they weren't even there. When it hit the hull, the kinetic energy released was equivalent to a small nuclear weapon. Kinetic bombardment. Kylonex breathed. They're using kinetic bombardment. Zaxathal S for eyes widened. Kinetic weapons were considered primitive by galactic standards. Every civilized race had moved beyond such crude technology millennia ago. Energy weapons were elegant, precise, efficient. Kinetic weapons were barbaric. They were also, apparently, devastatingly effective. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Zaxathal commanded, return fire. The remaining 9 destroyers of his fleet began to weave through space, their plasma cannons and particle beams lancing toward the human battleship. The energy weapons struck the strange ship's hull and did nothing. The beams seemed to be absorbed by the dark metal, causing no visible damage. Another kinetic round claimed another destroyer. Sir, the communications officer called out. We're receiving a transmission from the human ship. Put it through. Captain Chen's voice filled the bridge again, calm and professional. Commander Zaxathal, you seem to be having some difficulty. Would you like me to explain what's happening? Zaxathal S. Mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. You're using primitive kinetic weapons. Barbaric technology. Primitive? There was something like amusement in the human's voice. Commander, let me ask you something. What's the most advanced defensive technology in the galaxy? Energy. Shields, of course. Every civilized species, exactly. Energy shields. Designed to deflect or absorb energy weapons. But you know what energy shields can't stop? Another destroyer died, its hull cracking like an egg under the impact of a tungsten rod moving at 70% light speed, but piece of metal moving really, really fast. Zaxathal stared at the tactical display as his fleet dwindled. 7 destroyers left, 6, 5. This is impossible, he whispered. We are the Corvani Empire. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. We have technologies your species couldn't dream of. That's the thing about dreams, Commander, Chen's voice replied. Sometimes they turn into nightmares. The asterisk Defiance asterisk began to move, accelerating toward the Corvani fleet. As it did, Zaxathal got his first clear view of the human battleship. It was a weapon in the truest sense. Every line, every angle, every surface spoke of one purpose: to destroy. Where Corvani ships were works of art, this was a work of war. Its hull was covered in what looked like launch tubes, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, sir. Kylonex voice was barely audible. I'm reading massive energy buildups across the human vessel. It's preparing for a full barrage. Zaxathal mind raced. His dreadnought was the pride of the Corvani fleet, equipped with the most advanced weapons and defenses the Empire could produce. But he was beginning to understand a terrible truth. The Corvani had never actually fought humans before. They had fought human colonists farmers with jury-rigged weapons, merchants with converted cargo ships, refugees in barely armed transports. They had never fought human soldiers all remaining ships. He commanded, his voice steady despite the terror growing in his chest. Focus fire on the human vessel. Everything we have. The last 4 destroyers and his dreadnought opened fire simultaneously. The void lit up with energy beams, plasma bolts, and exotic matter projectiles. The barrage was enough to crack a moon. It struck the Defiance and was absorbed by its hull like rain on thirsty earth. Impossible, Zaxathal breathed. Not impossible. Chen's voice replied. Just advanced, you see, Commander. While your people were perfecting energy weapons, we were perfecting something else. What? The art of war. The Asterisk Defiance Asterisk fired its full barrage. Chapter 3. The revelation space around the Corvani fleet became a storm of metal and death. Thousands of kinetic projectiles launched from the Asterisk Defiance Asterisk, each one a perfectly calculated instrument of destruction. They came in waves, first the heavy penetrators, moving at 80% light speed, designed to punch through shields and armor, then the cluster rounds, breaking apart into dozens of smaller projectiles that spread out to catch ships trying to dodge. Finally, the hunters, smart rounds that could change course mid-flight, pursuing targets with relentless precision. The last 4 destroyers died in seconds, their hulls shredded by the metallic storm. The Asterisk Inevitable Victory Asterisk survived only because it was larger and more heavily armored. But even Zaxathel's mighty dreadnought was taking damage. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 12, reported the damage control officer. Shields are down to 30%. Sir, Kylonex called out, her voice tight with fear. The human ship is closing distance. Range, 40,000 kilometers and decreasing. Zaxathel watched the tactical display with growing horror. The human battleship was moving toward them, at a steady pace, its weapons continuing to fire in measured bursts. It wasn't rushing to finish them off. It was stalking them. Open a channel, he commanded. Channel open, sir. Captain Chen, Zaxathel's voice was no longer filled with arrogance, but with something approaching respect. I don't understand. Our intelligence reports indicated that human military technology was primitive. Your colonies had barely adequate defenses. Your merchant fleets were easily destroyed. That's because they weren't military, Chen replied. Commander, let me explain something about humans. When we expand into space, we don't send our armies first. We send our farmers, our families, our dreamers, the people who want to build something new. Another barrage from the Asterisk Defiance Asterisk shook the Asterisk Inevitable Victory Asterisk. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as more systems failed. But when you threaten our farmers, Chen continued, when you kill our families, when you destroy our dreams, that's when you get our attention. That's when we send our soldiers. But the reports, Zaxathel protested. Our intelligence networks confirmed that human military capabilities were deliberately underestimated. Chen finished. Tell me, Commander, in your 3 years of war against humanity, how many actual human military vessels have you encountered? Zaxathel's eyes widened as the truth hit him. None. We've encountered none. Because we've been busy, building, planning, preparing. Did you really think a species that clawed its way up from a single world would be easy to defeat? Did you think we'd roll over and die just because you had better energy weapons? The Asterisk Defiance Asterisk was close now, only 10,000 kilometers away. Zaxathel could see details of its hull through the viewport, the scorch marks from countless battles, the angular weapon ports, the sensor rays that tracked his every movement. What are you? He whispered. We're humans, Commander. We don't just fight wars. We asterisk our asterisk war. We've been fighting each other for our entire history. We've refined the art of killing into a science. We've turned destruction into an art form. Another voice came over the communication channel, younger, with a different accent. Captain, we're receiving surrender requests from 17 Corvani vessels in the outer system. They're offering to withdraw. Acknowledged, Lieutenant. Commander Zaxathel, it seems some of your people are smarter than you gave them credit for. Zaxathel looked at his tactical display. The ships Chen referred to were part of his extended fleet, vessels, that had been stationed at the system's edge to prevent human escape. They were now broadcasting surrender signals and moving away from the combat zone. They're abandoning me, he said quietly. No, Chen replied. They're saving their lives. The question is, are you smart enough to do the same? Zaxathel's mandibles clicked slowly as he considered his options. His ship was dying around him. His fleet was gone. His empire's intelligence about human capabilities had been catastrophically wrong. If I surrender, he said finally, what happens to my crew? They go home. They tell your people what they saw here. They explain that humans aren't the easy conquest you thought we were. And me, you come with us. You help us understand your people, so we can end this war properly. You mean, Zaxathel's voice was bitter, so you can conquer us like we tried to conquer you? No. Chen's voice was firm, so we can make peace. Commander, humans don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want to live in it, but we won't let anyone else rule us, either. The bridge of the asterisk, inevitable victory asterisk shuddered as another system failed. Through the viewport, Zaxathel could see the human battleship looming like a metal mountain. Its weapons were still trained on his ship, ready to finish what they'd started. Sir, Kylonex said quietly, we have no weapons capable of penetrating their defenses. Our shields are failing. If we continue to fight, we die, Zaxathel finished. He looked around his bridge, at his crew, at the officers who had served him faithfully, at the young soldiers who had trusted him to lead them to victory. He had led them to defeat instead. Captain Chen, he said into the communication array, I surrender. But I want to know something first. What's that, Commander? How many ships like yours do the humans have? The pause that followed was long enough to make Zaxathel wonder. If the communication had been cut, then Chen's voice returned, and there was something in it that made Zaxathel's blood run cold. Commander, the Asterisk Defiance Asterisk is just one ship from one fleet. We have 47 fleets. Zaxathel's legs gave out, and he collapsed into his command chair. 47 fleets. If each fleet had even a handful of ships like the Asterisk Defiance Asterisk, dear gods. He whispered, what have we done? Chapter 4. The price of Worth Docking Bay of the Asterisk Defiance Asterisk was unlike anything Zaxathel had ever seen. Where Corvani ships were filled with smooth, organic curves and bioluminescent panels. The human battleship was all angles and hard surfaces. The walls were covered in what looked like armor plating, and the air thrummed with the constant hum of powerful machinery. Captain Sarah Chen was waiting for him at the airlock, flanked by two human soldiers in black armor. She was smaller than Zaxathel had expected. Humans were generally shorter than Corvani, but there was something in her posture that spoke of absolute confidence. Commander, she said, offering what he recognized as a human greeting gesture. Welcome aboard the Asterisk Defiance Asterisk. Zaxathel's translator rendered her words, but he was more interested in studying her face. Human expressions were harder to read than Corvani ones, but he thought he detected something like sadness in her eyes. Captain Chen, he replied, attempting to match her formal tone. I must admit, I expected different treatment. You expected to be locked in a cell? I expected to be executed. Chen's mouth moved in what his briefings had identified as a smile, though this one seemed bitter. Commander, we're not at war with you because we enjoy killing. We're at war because you invaded our space and slaughtered our people. There's a difference. She gestured for him to follow her through the ship's corridors. As they walked, Zaxathel was struck by what he saw. Humans working alongside alien species he didn't recognize. Advanced technology that seemed to blend function with artistry, and everywhere the sense of controlled, directed purpose. Your crew, he said as they passed a group of beings working on what looked like a weapons system. They're not all human. No, Chen agreed. We have Zentari engineers, Vash navigators, even a few Corvani who defected early in the war. Turns out, when you're not trying to conquer people, they're more willing to work with you. They entered what appeared to be a conference room. The walls were covered with displays showing star charts, tactical information, and what looked like casualty reports. Chen gestured to a chair, designed to accommodate non-human anatomy, and Zaxathel settled into it carefully. I need to understand something, Chen said, taking a seat across from him. Why did the Corvani Empire attack us? What did we do to provoke this war? Zaxathel's mandibles clicked in confusion. Provoke? You didn't provoke anything. The High Council decided that human space contained resources we needed. Your colonies were obstacles to be removed. That's it. Resources, and ideology. Zaxathel admitted. The Empire believes that space should be governed by the strongest, most advanced species. Humans were seen as primitive, chaotic, Your expansion was uncontrolled. Chen leaned back in her chair. Uncontrolled. Because we don't have a centralized empire? Because you have hundreds of independent colonies, dozens of different governments, multiple competing factions. It's inefficient, chaotic. It's free. The word hung in the air between them. Zaxathal had heard it before in intelligence reports, but he never really understood what humans meant by it. Free, he repeated. But chaos leads to conflict. Look at your own history. Constant warfare. Internal strife. Competing nations destroying each other. Yes, Chen agreed. We fight each other. We argue. We disagree. We compete. But do you know what that's taught us, Commander? What? How to fight. How to win. How to survive. She gestured to one of the displays on the wall. This is a casualty report from the Battle of Kepler 442. 40,000 humans died when your forces destroyed the colony there. Zaxathal looked at the numbers, feeling something that might have been guilt. I'm sorry for your losses. Are you? Or are you just saying that because you lost? The question struck him like a physical blow. I don't know, Commander. Let me show you something. Chen activated another display. This is a recording from one of our deep space monitoring stations. It was taken 6 months ago. The display showed the darkness of space, punctuated by the trails of ships moving between stars. But these weren't human ships or Corvani vessels. They were something else entirely, massive. Organic-looking craft that seemed to pulse with their own internal light. What am I looking at? Zaxathal asked. The real threat, Chen replied. We call them the Devourers. They're not from this galaxy, and they're not interested in conquest or resources. They're interested in consumption. They eat everything, planets, stars, entire solar systems. The recording showed one of the massive ships approaching a star, as Zaxathal watched in horror. The star began to dim, its light being somehow absorbed by the alien vessel. They're coming, Chen continued. Our scouts estimate they'll reach the outer rim of the galaxy in 5 years. When they do, every species in known space will face extinction. Zaxathal stared at the recording, his mind struggling to process what he was seeing. Why are you showing me this? Because while your people and mine have been fighting over territory and resources, we should have been preparing for this. Because every ship you've destroyed, every human you've killed, every resource you've wasted on this war is one less tool we have to fight for survival. Chen stood up and walked to the viewport. Outside, the stars shone cold and distant. Commander, you asked me earlier how many ships like the Asterisk Defiance Asterisk humanity has. The answer is not enough. We have 47 fleets, but we need 100. We have advanced weapons, but we need better ones. We have brave soldiers, but we need more of them. You're asking me to help you, Zaxathal said slowly. I'm asking you to help us all. The Devourers don't care about empires or territories. They don't distinguish between human and Corvani. They just consume. Zaxathal's for eyes moved from the recording to Chen's face. What would you want from the Corvani Empire? An end to this war. A combining of our technologies. Your people are skilled engineers and tacticians. Our people are experienced fighters and innovators. Together, we might have a chance. And if I refuse, Chen's expression hardened. Then you go home to an empire that's about to face extinction. And we prepare to fight alone. The conference room fell silent except for the hum of the ship's systems. Zaxathal thought of his crew, of the billions of Corvani citizens who had no idea what was coming. He thought of the star being consumed in the recording, of entire worlds being devoured by alien hunger. What do you need me to do? He asked finally. Help us arrange a ceasefire. Help us convince your leaders that the real enemy isn't each other. Chen turned from the viewport to face him. Help us save everyone. Zaxathal looked at his hands, hands that had given orders to destroy human colonies, to kill human civilians, to wage a war that now seemed pointless in the face of universal extinction. I'll try, he said, but the High Council won't be easily convinced. They've invested too much in this war to abandon it without overwhelming proof. Then we'll give them proof, Chen replied. We'll show them what's coming, and we'll show them What humans can do when we're fighting for something bigger than ourselves. What's that? Everything. # epilogue. The new dawn 6 months later. The combined human Corvani fleet Unity emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the galaxy. The massive vessel was unlike anything either species had built alone. Human engineering and Corvani biotechnology had merged to create something that was both beautiful and terrifying. Its hull curved like a living creature, but it bristled with weapons that could reduce planets to ash. On the bridge, Captain Sarah Chen stood beside Commander Zaxithel, both of them watching the tactical displays with grim determination. The Devourers had arrived, ahead of schedule. Sensor contact, reported Lieutenant Martinez, Chen's tactical officer. Multiple vessels. Bearing 0 Mark 7. They're big. How big? Zaxithel asked. Dreadnought class. Maybe bigger. Chen studied the readings, her expression thoughtful. Commander, your people's organic ship designs. How quickly can they adapt to new threats? Very quickly, if the crew is skilled. Why? Because I have an idea. A very human idea. Zaxithel's mandibles clicked and what Chen had learned was amusement. Should I be worried? Probably. But it might just work. Behind them, the combined fleet began to deploy. Human kinetic weapons and Corvani energy shields, human tactical flexibility, and Corvani strategic planning, human aggression and Corvani precision. The war between their species was over. The war for survival had begun. And for the first time since the Devourers had been discovered. Both species had something they'd never had before when facing an impossible threat: hope. The Unity opened fire, and the galaxy's defenders went to war. But that's a story for another day.